I know that early on when we were with my former and your current employer, we did our first project, and it was the house that you live in.
Correct.
And so what did we put in there?
We put a 9,000 BTU air handler, Fujitsu. The house is about 1,000 square foot home, and I have no problem keeping the house cool or hot. I mean, it can be a 40-degree day, and I still keep out my house at 75.
You know, me and the owner of your company, we kind of worked on that house together, and it was one of the first ones that we did that really that blew our minds.
Yeah,
right?
that's correct.
And one of the things that we did at that house is we stood the unit up kind of in this little area in your hallway, and then they enclosed it all. So it looks like it's part of the house, right? I mean, it's built into the wall, virtually.
Virtually, yeah, it's going to be almost the same scenario that we're going to do downstairs on your son's house. It's going to be the exact same thing. That unit is going to be in a closet, and you're going to have all ducting on the walls. Yeah.
So, and I remember the reason we were able to do the 9,000 BTU on that house is we did the load calculation, and we were keeping the ductwork inside the building.
Inside the building,
right?
yes.
So it doesn't go into the attic where it's inhospitable. And remember, we're insulating over this ductwork because of that, so we have to make up the difference. But that house you live in is about the same size as this.
Correct.
We're putting a 12 in this house. You put a 9 in that house. The reason we can do a 9 and a 12 is because we're putting this in the attic. We have to go a little bit bigger because there is some load changes. But that 9,000 BTU, can you hear it run?
Not at all.
No?
It's just, and I mean, we've done this to many customers. We've been to houses where people have a 3-tone system with a 12-inch return on it, and it sounds like a jet when it turns on. I mean, the customers are even scared to turn it on at night because they can fall asleep, right? So you do one of these 18,000 or 12,000 BTU air handlers. We enlarge, the return. We put some new ducting on it, and they don't even realize the unit is running. They even ask, "Is this thing working?" Because they're surprised how quiet they can be.
It's truly incredible. And what we're doing, and the biggest thing about what we're doing, right, is we're using building science.
Correct.
For this, right? Instead of a lot of contractors, they use a different process of sizing systems, and it's called the thumbs method. Right? The rules of thumb. And some people are going to say we're going to have a 400 CFMs for square or for ton, and we're going to do 400 square foot per ton, right? So up here it's about 8,500 square feet, so it'd be 2.5 ton. That was typical thinking back in the day. But they didn't really use any science on that. And, obviously, this house, the load is changing in the house pretty dramatically as well. So I don't want to just say that this 12 would have worked in the old application, because it may not have. We're doing some other stuff here. But, so I wanted to kind of explain to the camera and to you, the way that we do this is the system comes on, and we have a nice building envelope and a really tight shell. And the really tight shell helps us hold the heat in and helps us stop getting heat from the attic in the afternoon, right? We're not transmitting a bunch of heat down through the ceiling. And we're able to charge the house up. So we want to think of this conceptually as the air handler and the system is a battery charger, and the house is the battery, right? So in the middle of summer, we want to keep the battery charged at your desired temperature, maybe 72 degrees. And then everything in the house gets 72 degrees, right? Because these run continuously. So they have the chance to cool everything off. So the walls are the same temperature, your furniture, your floors, your ceiling. And so the thermal mass of the house is holding that temperature. So we really only need a little bit of capacity to deal with Mother Nature as she puts in a little more heat or takes a little out in the wintertime, right? So if we look at it and we think about this, not as much as the old paradigm of I'm going to let the house get warm 3 degrees and we're going to cool it down real fast again, and everybody's going to be freezing cold or burning hot, and your customer can say, wow, it's loud and it's cold under the vents. This is different. This is, we're going to get the house the temperature we want. The unit is going to slow down. It's going to only speed up when it needs to. So we're just topping that battery off as we need to. So if the Mother Nature takes a little bit of the BTUs away, we just add a few more in or take a few away. So we got to wrap our head around the difference, right? It's a paradigm shift that we need to have around this, that we don't have to throw a bunch of BTUs into the house really quickly to take care of it. That makes it a less comfortable home. I can tell you 100% clarity that if anybody asks you for a larger system in their house, they're wrong about that. They're cut.